It's an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast is laying the groundwork for some big changes to Commander. On top of that, there's been a crazy magic leak of an unexpected secret lair, and out in the magic markets, there is complete panic over the new avatar set.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a fat and juicy installment of Mega Magic News. We're going to talk about a whole range of news items, including massive changes coming to Commander, smaller changes like tokens having a slight rule shift. And actually, speaking of tokens, if you want amazing tokens for your personal collection, then check out today's sponsor. Take your Magic collection to the next level with Ultra Premium Custom Tokens. Zaximus Studios offers a wide range of gorgeous tokens that are visually striking, feel amazing to the touch, and you can use the backside to track both tapped and untapped tokens. They also have these amazing treasure tokens for when you really want to show off. Grab yours today using the code MyBonesHurt with the link pinned below. All right, we have a lot of news to cover. So let's start out by talking about what's going on with Commander, because this is something that may have flown under the radar for a number of different people. Wizards of the Coast is laying the groundwork to make significant changes to the Commander format. So about 5 or 6 days ago, Wizards of the Coast released an update for Edge of Eternities. And what that does is it goes over the new rules for the set, explains how different abilities work, but at the same time, they use it to clean up a number of different aspects of what's going on with Magic. So I guess before we talk about the Commander thing, let's talk about a few of the other minor changes that they're making. So on the small side of changes, you have the situation with Rampaging Baloths, where up until now, Rampaging Baloths had an ability that said, whenever a land comes into play under your control, you may create a 4/4 token. Now they've done the same thing they did with Ajani's Pridemate, and they've changed it. It's no longer a may ability. So what happens now is this creature automatically makes a 4/4 every single time you lay a land. Now, from a functional standpoint, it actually does make the card weaker because you have no control over that. If it's going to be bad for you to make a token, you still have to make the token. On the upside, it does clean things up if you play on Arena, because Arena is where this really has a huge impact, and you can see it even in the beginner decks, because they did put Rampaging Baloths into a landfall deck that is one of the starter decks. So they probably realized, yo, this is slowing things down massively the same way Ajani's Pridemate was. We need to make that change. So that is basically a tiny tweak that makes the card slightly worse but flow better on Arena. Now, in terms of cosmetic changes that change the wording of something but don't really ultimately change the functionality at all, they have modified tokens. So now tokens say, instead of sacrificing this artifact, sacrifice this token. Which, as far as I'm concerned, anything Wizards can do to tighten up the rules and make it less confusing for new players, that is fantastic. So that is a nice little tweak. Now, let's talk about what's going down with Commander. So they basically came out and officially made a rule that says Commander does not use sideboards in any capacity. But that is specifically has a little carve-out exclusion that says, unless cards specifically allow you to bring them in from outside of the game, you can't use anything like a sideboard. But the way that it's worded clearly makes it possible for things like lessons, which are cards that we're going to see in Avatar, all of a sudden be fair game for Commander, right? Like, this is something that Wizards of the Coast has wanted to do for a very long time. It's a situation where Wizards of the Coast basically goes, look, we've been trying to slide extra cards into Commander since the beginning of Commander being the thing. And if you want an example of that, go back, obviously, lessons, like I mentioned, from Strixhaven were meant to be these little sideboard things. Maybe we can get them into Commander. But the biggest attempt to try and wedge extra cards into Commander was, of course, Companions. Do you guys remember Companions? One of the biggest nightmares ever to come into Magic the Gathering in recent history. One of the worst mechanics that had to be completely tweaked multiple times, basically, to make it functional and not broken. And they absolutely knew. That was the craziest thing. Mark Rosewater came out and said he knew. They knew that these were a bad idea, but they did them anyways. And why? Because it's an extra card for Commander. It's a legendary creature that you can easily use as your Commander, or you can have outside your Commander deck, because Wizards has a problem. Commander is their main goal. So, as it being the main goal, the main moneymaker, they need to try and make as much stuff as they can for it. And as a result, you end up with a scenario where they go, well, every crazy, super powerful card that we make, like think, for example, about that new Infinity, the stone that's coming along. 1 black and 1, and it comes into play on tap, taps for a black mana, is indestructible, and you can use it to get rid of one of your own creatures, and it'll permanently resurrect a guy. How likely is Wizards of the Coast to make a mana rock that is more powerful than that, where you're just going to go, I don't need this for my black deck, forget it, right? So basically, they're in the business of trying to create new powerful cards that'll take up each of the slots in your 100 card deck. But that's a zero-sum game, right? Ultimately, for every card that goes in, now these other cards in the past can't be used, which leads to more power creep craziness. Now, if you can have cards come in from the outside all of a sudden, which is something that Commander has eschewed for its entire history, essentially. Well, now you have unlimited waves of cards that you can create. And now you can have Commander players who all of a sudden, instead of wanting 2 cards for the deck, well, now they want 20 cards for the deck, because there's no sideboard, which means there's no limit to the number of outside cards you can have. Sideboards have 15 cards in total, right? So when you go no sideboards, but we're bringing outside cards, all of a sudden you open it up to, you could bring a binder full of extra cards, the way people did with Ring of a Roof back in the day, right? So this, as far as I'm concerned, is a signal that they're going to make big changes to Commander. Wizards of the Coast has nobody in their way anymore. So all the decisions for Commander will be purely based on what makes them money. Remember, they created the whole game changer list so they'd never have to ban another card in Commander. They can just go, oh, it's a game changer. Talk about it amongst yourselves. Not our problem if you're not happy about it. So this is just another way to shove more and more cards into their main format without having to try and make the cards fit into the actual original 100. So the fact that they codified specifically, up until now, Commander didn't actually have the official rule that says it doesn't use sideboards, but then they have that huge extra paragraph that says if any rules, cards, abilities, whatever, allow it to come in from outside, that's allowable. So it really is a small sort of thing that X number of months down the road, who knows? We haven't seen much from Avatar yet, or we could see something even from Spider-Man they haven't spoiled yet, where actually you can pull stuff in from outside Commander. This is going to cause a big amount of activity in terms of people wanting to change their decks, add this stuff in. So it is like, it's probably going to be one of the biggest changes to Commander that we've ever seen. Aside from Wizards taking over and completely going, we're going the game changers and we're going to start yanking stuff off the ban list. So it's one of the biggest shakeups that I could envision coming about as a result of this. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen as a result. Now, a little bit of positive news for my Canadian friends who live in the same country as me. Guess what? Our government has decided they're dropping the tariffs on Magic cards. So Magic cards aren't going to be getting hit with that extra price increase. It remains to be seen whether that's going to have a knock-on effect or if we're going to see an overall, like, at least slightly higher price permanently as a result here. I don't know. I don't know what the LGS is and the businesses are going to do. Magic in the first place has tight margins. So you might see, oh, hey, are we not getting hit with 25% extra costs? You might only see the prices come down by 10, 15%. I'm curious to see how this is all going to play out, but it is at least good news. Moving on, the next thing I want to talk about is the Avatar Commander Bundle, because we do have more information about this. It appears what's happened is Wizards of the Coast, like I said, it was probably just the gift bundle, but it's a reimagining of the gift bundle. So renaming it the Commander Bundle, first of all, is a really smart move, because the gift bundle was an attempt to try and create a product where maybe your grandma would come in and buy an expensive box off the shelf, but grandma's not going to be buying $100 bundle for little Billy, right? She's going to buy like the $25 starter kit or something along those lines. So having it as a gift bundle, I mean, it's a gift people are buying themselves. You change it to Commander Bundle, and all of a sudden, you have a much more marketable name. And then on top of that, they're actually changing the bundles to be more Commander-centric. So what's going to happen, and I believe this will probably go forward with each of the sets as we go along, you'll have the special Commander Bundle, which will include 8 regular boosters, 8 or 9 regular boosters, the Collector Booster, and then 10... Oh, wait, sorry, not 10. 5. You get 5 out of a possible 10 different special to Commander cards. So you'll see things like Sol Ring, whatever. Each box will have the same 3 set in them, and then there'll be 2 randomized. So you're going to be able to guarantee it. They're playing a bit of a tweaked game like they did with the Lord of the Rings bundle, where they gave you those 4 promos, right? Where you got Gollum, you got the One Ring, you got Sam, you got Frodo. But in this case, they're going to go, we're going to give you these 3, and then we'll randomize the other ones, thus turning the gift bundle, Commander Bundle itself, into another booster style product, because they can't help themselves with that, right? That's what they do with secret layers and all of that stuff. So ultimately, no big surprise there, but it is a better concept as a bundle. Promos targeted towards Commander, the name change, all of it is probably going to make the product even more popular, which could actually lead to problems as well, right? So the next item on the list is Through the Omen Paths will start its spoiler season September 2nd. And this is really weird because Through the Omen Path is the Spider-Man set. So Arena is going to have its own special spoiler season where they show off all of these Through the Omen Path Spider-Man cards. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle the fact that it's like, okay, this guy's a hero mutant spider pig. Like, are they just going to jam random things together? Are they going to use like creatures from Ikoria? My guess is they're just going to pull random artwork that they had kicking around in their slush art, paint some extra stuff onto it. So it's like, look, there's a goat in the back. It counts as a goat man. We're good, right? Like there's a man in it. There's a goat. So I expect that we're going to get artwork that feels in Magic Universe, but is from disparate worlds and random. It's pretty wild to think that the Spider-Man spoiler season and the Omen Pass spoiler season are coexisting at the same time, showing off the same cards, but flavored differently. It is one of the weirdest times in Magic's history. And speaking of Magic's history, if you've ever wanted to meet the inventor of Double Strike, he is a close personal friend of mine, and he will be at Star City's Orlando event this weekend. He's going to be there for the wonders of the first 10K event. So if you're going to that event, or you want to meet Double Strike Daddy and that's going to make you go to the event, say hi to him from me, all right? Next item on the list is, we have talked about all this, let's talk about the Market Panic. So, Market Panic, obviously you remember in a recent video I talked about Spider-Man Market Panic. Well now, guess what it's time for? Avatar Market Panic. We have a situation where now Avatar collector boosters have, like the boxes, have just sold out in insane speed records and at crazy prices. Apparently people are buying these up with bots in massive waves. So there's brag posts going, check it out. I managed to order 50 of these collector booster boxes. This is kind of something like, from what I'm understanding, we're seeing an influx of people from different scenarios. So you've got the sneakerheads, the guys who used to try and flip sneakers because the sneaker market ain't doing so hot. You've got the Pokemon flippy Magoo guys and crypto bros all looking at this and going, there's a lot of money in this. So there's a lot of fingers grabbing up boxes in an attempt to just make somebody pay more down the line. So it's kind of reached this insane point where the panic has swept up Spider-Man collector boosters, Edge of Eternity boosters, collector boosters specifically, Avatar collector boosters, even older collector products like the Innistrad Remaster collector boosters, which kind of languished for a while, they have seen a renewed interest. There is this insane market, like basically scalping frenzy going on with Magic right now that is really bad for the game. When you combine it with the fact that Wizards of the Coast is having production issues and not making enough product, you have a bad situation for stores where they literally can't get enough product to run drafts, right? They're just like, okay, I can't run drafts because I don't have enough product for it. I'm not getting enough product to sell people at all, really. And then I've got people coming in and buying boxes for me and turn around and sell them online for so much more. So LGSs are put in the rough spot of, do I charge whatever the current market price is, where it's some crazy high price and my locals have to pay that, or do I sell it at a lower price and then somebody from outside comes in and swipes them all up and just like, I'm not even a regular customer of yours, I'm just taking these to make money, goodbye, who cares about your player base and whatever. So LGSs are put in a really rough spot by this, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. LGSs have taken the extreme measure of, here's the price for the box if you let us take the wrapping off the box before you leave it, and here's the price if you want to leave with the box wrapped. Other stores are going, maybe we just sell it by pack and we literally don't let people buy boxes. But it's a very strange time in Magic the Gathering, right? So, speaking of strange, there was a strange leak of a new secret lair. So, let's get that up on the screen. Now, this is the Eyes Have It, and this is actually a very funky secret lair. So you get Counterbalance, Otherworldly Gaze, Opt, Baleful Strix, and Gataxian Probe. And obviously with the name The Eyes Have It, the concept is very eye-based. And if you look at the artwork, right? Like, look at Otherworldly Gaze. Sure, it's just 1 blue for an instant, Surveil 3, and flashback for like whatever. When you look at the card from an ability perspective, it's kind of whatever. When you look at the artwork, it's absolutely amazing. There's some Titan who's coming out of the sun and crawling across a sea of eyeballs. Like, this is incredibly evocative artwork. It's a strange secret lair though, right? Like, basically most of it seems to be around drawing cards. That's the kind of deal, right? You've got Opt that lets you draw cards. You got the Strix when it comes into play that lets you draw cards. You got Gataxian Probe that lets you draw cards. Man, the artwork is so good. You look at all of them. Opt with this crazy weeping eye, weeping out into the pool of, oh, yo, the little guys in the bottom. Yo, you ever see that game or the show Monster Rancher? He looks like that. What's that guy's name? Suezo or something like that? I mean, he's yellow in the game, but it looks like a bunch of him bobbing in the water. Anyways, Baleful Strix is wild with the artwork too. You see this bird, it has no eyes. So you look at its face and its eyes are non-existent. But then its wings have all the eyes, which is so, I mean, obviously terrible. Think about that. Think about trying to orient your wings. Owls can normally like whip their heads around completely. This is going to be one of the most blind owls ever. And when you're flying like that, you're just gonna have a bunch of crap blasted into your eyes. It doesn't seem like a great design from an evolution standpoint. But as a mystical beast, oh yeah. And the Gataxian Probe, it looks like it's staring directly into your soul. It's so unsettling. The crazy tentacles, the giant unblinking eye. I don't know what's supposed to be going on in the lower half. Are there more of these kind of coming out of portals? I don't know. This is somewhat abstract, but absolutely wild. Now, it is weird that Counterbalance is included in here, right? It feels like one of these things is not like the other. And Counterbalance is that one, you know, where it's like you get to flip over the top card of your deck and use it to counter spells. So I mean, I suppose it does kind of combine up with Surveil or Scry. It's like, it feels loosely tacked on in an attempt to, well, maybe originally they had planned, let's do a secret lair with Counterbalance, add extra stuff in and make it work, or they tacked counterbalance on at the end to make this secret lair have enough value in it. I'm not 100% sure because this secret lair isn't even supposed to be available yet. They accidentally gave this out at the recent MagicCon, so that's how this secret lair actually got leaked. I have no concept of when they're going to attempt to sell it. I have no idea of what price point it's going to be at, and if Wizards of the Coast was planning on giving these away, I imagine there would be some kind of announcement either beforehand or like a little Twitter post or something saying oh, somebody found the secret that we gave out at the event. Whatever it is, there'd be something going on that would tell you, hey, we did this on purpose. So as far as I'm concerned, this is an accidental leak, and I'm curious to see what the actual information about this will tell us about the secret lair. So that covers all of the news that we have to discuss today. Thanks for coming by and hearing me out. A big shout out to my channel patrons and members. You guys rule, and I will see you all, my friend, all my friends in the next video, unless only one person watches this video. In that case, that was specifically for you, buddy. See you later.